All right, we're going to get to Rishi Sunak, yeah? We're going to get to Rishi Sunak. Here is Double Down News talking about why Rishi Sunak is totally unfit to be Prime Minister, right? Double Down News is one of the better UK news outlets, one of the surprisingly only leftist UK news outlets. Let's see.
Rishi Sunak, the wealthiest member of parliament, is totally unfit to be Prime Minister. He is someone who has benefited from an elite education, going to a private school, Oxford, having a career in banking before pursuing a career in politics. So as Prime Minister, whose interests do you think he'll be serving? Rishi Sunak and his family belong to a very exclusive club who think the rules don't apply to them, including tax rules, benefiting from a non-dom status that you can't use. Taxation rules are something you don't have a choice about.
Are you stoked that the Conservative Party allowed a man of color as their leader? This feels very off-brand. I mean, no, I don't give a shit. He's still a Tory. Who gives a fuck if it's an Indian man, a man of Indian descent that is the one that is going to... Oh, you said shocked, not stoked? Okay, sorry. Am I shocked? No, not at all. I think that conservatives have been doing liberal style identity politics for a very long time. I mean, they're fully leaning into it. You know what I mean? No reason to undermine the truly oppressive hierarchies and just doing like light pandering. The problem, however, is that the Tory voters on the ground will most likely not appreciate Rishi Sunak because he's brown. So there's that. All of the things that they would normally not pay attention to, they will use as an opportunity to shield away their true reason for hating him. He is a brown man. That's what'll end up happening. And I called this with Liz Truss as well, and I called this with Bojo as well. These kinds of like aesthetic pandering, the kinds of like aesthetic moves like this are only appealing to a small group of people, and those people are like the elites, not the actual fucking voters. You're not going to be able to get the Tory party to be on board with a brown man leading the helm unless he's like overtly, aggressively EDL style racist. Lib Dems will probably appreciate him, you know what I mean? Like liberals will like it, so that's what it is. But other than that, like the fucking xenophobic, racist Tory voters are not going to appreciate this, as they have already talked about. You know what I mean? They've already been sounding off a little bit. But yeah, let's take a look.
But as a member of the government, he's actively pushed through policy that stopped people from being able to come to the UK and rebuild their lives. From the Rwanda policy that will deport refugees thousands of miles away to defending the hostile environment. Rishi Sunak is a complete, utter fraud. This again shows the limitations of representation politics. Having black and brown people at the top.
Yep, exactly.
The Tories are the party of the 1%, and they will always do the bidding of the 1%.
We inherited a bunch of formulas from the Labour Party that shoved all the funding into deprived urban areas, and that needed to be undone. I started the work of undoing that.
Like, can you imagine running on that, dude? We need to stop funding areas that are deprived of economic opportunity and start moving money back into areas that deserve it. You know, the already wealthy areas. Straight up, just openly trying to cause a separate rift between like what you would perceive to be upper middle class or middle class people and working class people that are in a worse economic situation overall. But here's the thing, and I do believe that Bojo didn't want to take the leadership position, partially because we don't know if he had 100 votes within the party membership that he needed to even be able to get up there, considering the no confidence vote, even though they claimed he did. Assuming the role right now of leadership in the UK is a horrible bargain, regardless. Even if he had 100 votes, is a horrible bargain regardless, because you got a cold winter coming up. The war in Ukraine is heating up while people in the UK are very cold. The Queen death distraction ran the media cycle for a while, but now you got to get back to business. You know, you got to get back to business. People don't have food at their tables. Inflation is a problem. And there's a looming energy crisis in the UK. Being the guy who has to take control over that and fix that situation, not a great look. I mean, he's just a fucking cardboard cutout banker guy, you know? These guys are always going to have the exact same, they're going to have the exact same disdain for the working class. They're going to have the exact same attitude towards neoliberal austerity measures. None of that is going to be different. What's going to be different if you get someone like Bojo in is the aesthetics and what the media pays attention to. If you're not going to be like overtly racist, okay? If you're not going to fucking throw that racism smoke grenade on the ground, or like a racism flashbang to draw attention to that rather than anything else, people are going to be not only reminded of their dire economic situation, which they always are aware of regardless, but the media will reinforce the policies failing. Anyway, here it is. Britain sits for its third prime minister in 7 weeks.
Returning officer in the leadership election, I can confirm.
By the way, I just want to welcome England to Europe, because I feel like going through prime ministers at this rate and just like having a government without like a functioning head of state is incredibly Europe. Okay, this is the most European shit. They're literally they want to be Europe so bad. They did Brexit, but I mean, this is very EU country. Can you explain? This isn't a general election. This is just another Tory brought in the position. Yes. This was not an election. They just switched over party leadership, basically. Someone resigned and another person took their place. That's not like, they don't have a presidential system like we do here. So like you vote for the party and then the party has a leader and you functionally are voting for that leader when you're voting for the party. But when that leader resigns as a consequence of a no confidence vote, or when that leader resigns as a consequence of like everybody hating her so aggressively, like Liz Truss, in a matter of 45 days, the party is just reinstating a new prime minister. There's like a internal process for it. You need to have 100 votes in party membership to be able to get to it. And Bojo claims that he got 100, even though the no confidence vote shows otherwise. But he still did not actually end up running against Rishi Sunak. And Rishi Sunak is now the new prime minister of the UK.
He's now going to be Prime Minister, and can I just throw in that it is highly significant that this is the first Prime Minister from an ethnic minority. The message that sends to a worldwide audience, to your audience, is really highly significant.
Oh my God, they're doing the lib shit, dude. Yeah, he's brown. The message that sends. We did it. We've defeated anti-brown racism here in the UK.
You know, his parents came here from East Africa, from a Punjabi family, and the whole family, and particularly Rishi, has made a complete success. And can I speak personally, because I have a very, very close friend who is himself half Indian, Hindi, absolutely overjoyed at this moment that his community and the non-white community is reflected in society at its absolute peak.
Boys, he said half. Okay, like Rishi Sunak is an almost billionaire, right? His estimated wealth is 730 million quid, right? So when he says, did I say Richie? That's a Freudian slip, dude. And his wife's parents are billionaires. His wife is caked up too. The thing is, what's he gonna do? You think he's gonna tax himself? You think he's gonna tax himself, guys? He's gonna be like, yeah, I'm Rishi Sunak, and I believe we should be taxing people like myself. Also, Rishi Sunak has proved to all little South Asian kids that if your parents send you to a 46k Winchester college, you become a banker and profit millions from the financial crash that led to 300k dying from austerity, and throw other POC under the bus. You too can be PM. Inspirational. Per annum. PA is per annum. So pleased we live in a country where we can elect a South Asian prime minister who deliberately diverted money from urban areas, which have more people of color, to leafy white Tory areas. It's the perfect representation of neoliberal idpol, right? You got an Indian dude who is a conservative, an out and about conservative who's a banker, straight up saying all these other places where other migrants that look like me live, they're taking too much of the the government dollar, the English government dollar. And that dollar should circulate to, oh God, I'm saying dollar, quid. It's a measure of UK's commitment to diversity and inclusion that we have a new South Asian prime minister who took the time to state he wants to stop and search more black people and repeat right-wing rhetoric about Muslims grooming children. Again, he's also doing like the racist like right-wing narrative, but doing it with a brown face. So obviously, it's not as racist. Why are you calling Richie racist? Yeah, he's brown himself, you fucking bastard. That sort of thing. So that's really always fun.
I managed to start changing the funding formulas to make sure that areas like this are getting the funding that they deserve. because we inherited a bunch of formulas from the Labour Party that shoved all the funding into deprived urban areas. Then that needed to be undone. I started the work of undoing that.
So here he is on black and brown people.
We need to put more police officers on the street. We're in the process of doing that. We also need to make sure that they have the tools they need to actually keep us safe. One thing that concerns me as I've been campaigning around the country is it's clear that there are elements in our police forces that are held back from doing the things that I think they want to do that would actually keep us safe because
the bobbies, crack some skulls in it.
Because of an ideology, right? We talked about this wokish ideology, and stop and search is a good example of a technique that works, that police forces are not always using for reasons that are not right.
Yeah, these woke ideology getting in the way of cops doing their jobs, like stop and search, which is demonstrably proven to not work, is just pure motivated racism, and it doesn't work. It's not good policing. There is empirical evidence to show that it's not good policing. You just end up searching black people and brown people, and you literally lose track of, like, it statistically does not work. Okay, it's bad policing across the board. That's it. But you think if you have a suspicion that black and brown people are more likely to commit crimes, and you think like, well, that's justified. That's totally reasonable. It doesn't work that way. But the woke ideology that Rishi is talking about is called civil rights. Love that. We're not letting this woke ideology get in the way. They're calling it civil rights. Well, I call it civil wrongs. That's what we need to bring back.
And all I'll say to you, whether it comes to another thing that we don't tackle, which affects young girls, that's the issue of grooming gangs, which I've been very clear that we must tackle. And we all know...
Brother, you're a Tory. What the fuck do you mean grooming gangs? Yeah, the grooming gangs narrative is, again, another false narrative. Every time there's like a Muslim or a Pakistani dude that does like, something pedophilic, okay? Boom, immediately they're like, it's time. Grooming gangs are happening. It's a real thing. Every time a Tory, on the other hand, is selected to a position, they have to do grooming. It's just like a part of the job, you know what I mean? It's in the description. But that, of course, is not considered grooming because it's like overwhelming lords and white people, right? It's just nonsense. The point is, obviously, not that like you should give allowances to fucking immigrants doing grooming or whatever the fuck. Obviously, that's not what I'm saying. The point is, they often will turn a blind eye to the grooming happening in the Tory party, and then they will turn around and claim that like every fucking brown person is a part of a grooming gang. Not only is it hypocritical, but it's also being weaponized. Like when a fucking Pakistani dude does like grooming, okay, or pedophilia, that doesn't mean all Pakistani people are engaging in this action.
But what I'll tell everyone here is that I will never let political correctness stand in the way of keeping you and your family safe. That's the type of Prime Minister I will.
One of the funnier parts about this, though, the media, right-wing media in the UK, which is like almost all of the media in the UK, will cover this and say like, oh, well, Rishi Sunak, he's Indian, he's Hindu, he's beautiful, it's wonderful, it's prosperous, racism is over, right? But on the ground, the people that vote for the Tories will unironically get mega racist. That's my prediction. I do feel like it will usher in an Obama era in the UK. And what I mean by that is, and that's not an equivalence to like chattel slavery, to like what Indian immigrants went through or anything like that. Obviously, that's not what I'm saying. But it will usher an Obama era in the same sense that like a lot of racist white people lost their fucking minds, okay, when a black person became president in a country that was built on slavery, upholding slavery, white supremacy. You are going to see incredible out and about racist motherfuckers just going crazy, saying that they're not going to be voting for the Tories anymore, that the country is falling apart, and this is not what the UK represents. We watched a version of this before Rishi Sunak was put up as the next prime minister, as the next leader of the Tory party. You're going to see some Lib Dems shift over and say, well, he's doing a great job. But then you're going to see a bunch of Tories go, why the fuck am I voting for the Conservatives if they're not going to do racism? Meanwhile, he is racist, right? I mean, he is going to be enacting racist policies, but he's brown. Here, we'll watch a little bit more. This is another really funny gaffe from Rishi.
The numbers of votes cast for each candidate is as follows.
People know I probably have a reputation for working hard and getting across the details.
30 quid, 30 pounds. Friends who are aristocrats, I have friends who are upper class, I have friends who are, working class, but I'm not working class, but...
It's been reported that you've got family links.
I love that one. Where he's like, well, not working class. I mean, I got friends that are upper class. I got friends that are working class. Well, not working class. Not the fucking pools, but...
To Russia, that your wife apparently has a stake in the Indian IT consultancy firm Infosys. Are you giving advice to others that you're not following in your own home?
It's not. I'm an elected politician and I'm here to talk to you about what I'm responsible for.
I love that one. You only do that if you have unironically never purchased something for yourself. You do that when you're a fucking billionaire. And like, that's the thing. For me, I don't understand it. It's like, I always thought that even if you're a billionaire, you still like get gas and shit every now and then. You know what I mean? Like, how do you avoid buying things with a credit card? Like, how have you avoided for that long, dude? That it makes no money. I mean, it makes no money. It makes no sense. I don't get it. A billionaire has like 3 drivers. No, but like, it just does not make sense, dude. It does not make sense. There is no moment where you actually fucking like went to a grocery store at all.
Addict. Total Coke addict. Coca-Cola addict. Yeah,
Thank you very much indeed for having...
Wait, he's a Coca-Cola addict? Okay, that's a redeeming quality. At least he's a soda man.
Addict. Total Coke addict. Coca-Cola addict. Yeah,
Thank you very much indeed for having me.
One last thing, last thing, Charles, if I may.
Bye-bye.
Do you believe you may have broken the rules?
No, extremely and sincerely sorry.
Let's just talk about that figure if you may, because of course...
No, I'm just about to, Ben.
Okay, carry on.
I don't think anyone in this community gives a shit about whether Rishi Sunak is brown or not, considering that we care more about his policies that will be anti-brown and anti-black. The only people that will genuinely care about this are going to be a bunch of liberals who will say, oh, well, you know, he's brown. So, you know, this was a big move for the conservatives and for England in general.